If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And please join me on my website at nanice.com. Thank you.
It's your time for Chai with Nanice. Get ready for substance, clarity, change, and especially empowerment. Get ready to turn over stones, uncover stories, and get to the heart of the matter in every area of your life. Any mood runs, any emotion flies, and your dreams are within your grasp. There are no limits or boundaries, and your comfort zone is out of reach, yet it's the safest place you will ever be. Come in, sit down, and have some chai with Nanice.
Welcome to Chai with Nanice. I'm Nanice. Welcome to a new day. Welcome to a new life. Welcome to a new world. A new world where you get a voice. A new world where you matter. A new world where you make a difference. This is what we've all wanted. Think about it. Your deepest dreams and desires. Is it not a world where you matter? Is it not a world where you have a voice? Is it not a world where you are empowered to be the best possible you? Today's show is going to be an amazing show. And to introduce the show, first I'd like to read a passage from this amazing book that I now am reading and actually read probably 2 decades ago. And it's called A Different Drum by M. Scott Peck. You might know this name because he also wrote the best-selling book, The Road Less Traveled. So in the beginning of his book, in the prologue, he talks about the rabbi's gift, and I'm going to read it straight from the book. The rabbi's gift, the story concerns a monastery that had fallen upon hard times, once a great order, as a result of waves of anti-monastic persecution in the 17th and 18th centuries, and the rise of secularism in the 19th, all its branch houses were lost, and it had become completely decimated to the extent that there were only 5 monks left in the decaying mother house. The abbot and 4 others, all over the age of 70. Clearly, it was a dying order. In the deep woods surrounding the monastery, there was a little hut that a rabbi from a nearby town occasionally used as a hermitage. Through their many years of prayer and contemplation, the old monks had become a bit psychic, so they could always sense when the rabbi was there. The rabbi is in the woods, the rabbi is in the woods, the rabbi is in woods, they would whisper to each other. As he agonized over the imminent death of his order, it occurred to the abbot at one such time to visit the hermitage and ask the rabbi if some possible chance he could offer any advice that might save the monastery. The rabbi welcomed the abbot at his hut, but when the abbot explained the purpose of his visit, the rabbi could only commiserate with him. "I know how it is," he exclaimed. "The spirit has gone out of the people. It is the same in my own town. Almost no one comes to the synagogue anymore." So the old abbot and the rabbi just wept together. Then they read parts of the Torah and quietly spoke of deep things. The time came when the abbot had to leave. They embraced each other. "It has been a wonderful thing that we should meet after all these years," the abbot said, "but I have still failed in my purpose for coming here. Is there nothing you can tell me, no piece of advice you can give me that would help me save my dying order?" "No, I am sorry," the rabbi responded. "I have no advice to give. The only thing that I can tell you is that, well, the Messiah is one of you." When the abbot returned to the monastery, his fellow monks gathered around him to ask, "Well, what did the rabbi say? What did the rabbi say?" The abbot answered, "He couldn't help. We just wept and read the Torah together. The only thing he did say, just as I was leaving, well, it was something cryptic, was that the Messiah is one of us. I don't know what he means." In the days and weeks and months that followed, the old monks pondered this and wondered whether there was any possible significance to the rabbi's words. The Messiah is one of us? Could he possibly have meant one of us monks here at the monastery? If that's the case, then which one? Do you suppose he means the abbot? Well, yes, he meant the abbot. He probably meant Father Abbot. After all, he's been our leader for more than a generation. On the other hand, he might have meant Brother Thomas. Brother Thomas is a holy man. Everyone knows that Thomas is a man of light. Certainly, though, he could not have meant Brother Eldred. Eldred gets crotchety at times. But come to think of it, even though he is a thorn in people's sides, when you look back on it, Eldred is virtually always right, often very right. Maybe the rabbi did mean Brother Eldred, but surely not Brother Philip. Philip is so passive, a real nobody. But then, Almost mysteriously, he has a gift for somehow always being there when you need him. He just magically appears by your side. Maybe Philip is the Messiah. Of course, the rabbi didn't mean me. He couldn't possibly have meant me. I'm just an ordinary person. Yet suppose he did. Suppose I am the Messiah. Oh, God, not me. I couldn't be that much for you. Could I? As they contemplated in this manner, the old monks began to treat each other with extraordinary respect, on the off chance that one among them just might be the Messiah, and on the off chance that each monk himself just might be the Messiah. They began to treat themselves with extraordinary respect, just in case. Because the forest in which it was situated was beautiful, as so it happened, the people still occasionally came to visit the monastery to picnic on its tiny lawns, to wander along its paths, and even now and then go into the dilapidated chapel to meditate. As they did, without even being conscious of it, they sensed this aura of extraordinary respect that the monks now had for each other and even for themselves. And this extraordinary respect surrounded the 5 monks and seemed to radiate out from them and permeate the atmosphere of the place. There was something strangely attractive, even compelling about it. Hardly knowing why, they began to come back to the monastery more frequently, to picnic, to play, to pray. They began to bring their friends to show them this special place, and their friends brought their friends. Then it happened that some of the younger men who came to visit the monastery started to talk with the old monks. After a while, one asked if he could join them, then another and another. And so within only a few short years, the monastery had once again become a thriving order, and thanks to the rabbi's gift, a vibrant center of light and spirituality in the realm. I love this story. I love this story because this really is the answer. That the answer to creating a new world, the answer to creating a world where we are all empowered, is believing that we are someone special, that maybe, in fact, we are each the Messiah. And that's the point of the story, that we each are the Messiah, that you listening right now are the Messiah, that you are here for an extraordinary purpose, whatever that might be, and that you have the ability to change the world. There are really as many worlds, as many universes as there are beings, as there are the perception of beings. And so today, I want you to put aside all your doubts and false beliefs about who you are and who you might be. And I want you to just for a moment embrace the possibility that you are in fact someone extraordinary, that you are here to make a difference, and that your voice matters. Well, I'm going to give a little twist to the show now, because we're not just talking about empowerment. We're going to talk about a specific facet of human empowerment, and that is embracing the female. We have lived in a male-dominant world for a very, very long time, and without feminine contribution, it has become imbalanced. Anyone would agree with that. Now, we're not here to blame men, but rather to reclaim our power as women and to learn how to partner with the masculine in creating a harmonic new world. And when I say we, I mean we, that we are all here together, men and women, to learn how to work together, to learn how to create this new world, that not one of us can do it alone, that we must all bring our gifts and talents, the feminine and masculine, to the table to create a feast that will benefit and sustain all. My guests today are my beautiful friend Trinity and my lovely daughter-in-law April, who you've heard on the show many times before. And this conversation that we're having today was actually inspired by Trinity. That we have had many very intimate conversations about empowering the female, about empowering women. And I love what Trinity has to say. I love her insight and her awareness. And it has inspired me in my insight and awareness of the feminine, of empowering the female. And so, without wasting another moment here, Trinity, thank you so much for having chai with me today.
Oh, you're very welcome, Nanice. Glad to be here.
Oh, you look beautiful, by the way. I love those earrings.
Thank you.
So do you, April. So, one of the things that you have said regarding the subject that resonates with me is that women, that this world has only been really run by half the population for a very long time.
Indeed.
Yeah. And could you share with our listeners what you mean by that, and just kind of...
Okay. Well, I think we have about half of the voice in the world, 50% of the world. And the female is, it's kind of, it's tiring and gets a little old, but we're not really hearing the voice of the female. For example, if you go into any courthouse on the city level, the state level, or the federal level, there's a lot of pictures of old men in robes.
Yes.
Why? The judges, okay, well, why would anyone want to look at that? I mean, the male isn't so gorgeous unless he's a peacock.
Peacocks are really
I like
gorgeous.
those earrings too for a peacock. But other than that, I just would so much rather look at a female. And we have busts of men. I mean, you can look at any movie, blah, blah, blah. It just goes on and on, male this, male that. And just I'm ready to see a lot more feminine. See, hear.
Yes. Because it's a different energy.
Well, of course.
So, when I'm reading between the lines, and that is when you say that, I'd like to see, beautiful women on the walls of the courthouse.
Yes.
What I'm hearing you also say is that not just this physical beauty that women bring to the table, but this energy of feminine beauty, of the goddess, for lack of a better way of saying it.
Or the softer. Well, I wouldn't even necessarily say that feminine's softer, because it can be much more cutting than the masculine. I mean, anyone that went to junior high or middle school knows that. Yeah. A female can just kill you dead. Yeah. And so there's also that edge to it. But, yes, I just, it's sort of a metaphor, but I would just like to see a lot more feminine everywhere. What do you think, April?
Yeah.
Why do you think the world is too male?
Definitely. My whole life, it just seems like a female, it's like you don't have the same rights, or you're not good enough, or, even just boys. I remember just playing football, and, a couple of times I'll try it.
You've played football?
Yeah.
Like Little League football?
No, not like Little
just
League.
Playing on the
playing around, because
Yeah.
why not? I want to play. I don't know the rules or anything. And I remember the girls just staring at me like, what in the world is she doing?
Yeah.
But it was just so fun to just take something that was just like typical boy sport and just to be something different. And just like you said, just have that fun and edge.
Well, the cool thing is you could get tackled by a boy, right?
Absolutely.
That'd be the best thing about football for me.
I'm going to stay away from the football part, but I had no idea about this, April. Knowing that we were going to have this topic today, because we've talked about it before, I've actually thought about my relationship to the masculine, or to the male's world, so to speak. Like I haven't in a long time, and I started just going back through my own little history, and certainly as when I was younger in high school, junior high, yes, certainly I did feel the male dominance. And then, as most of our listeners know, if they've been listening to the show for a while, when I was 16, 17, I was in this horrifically abusive relationship. Definitely disempowered female was I. And, something happened to me, and that wasn't, it was a long process of healing, but I decided that I would never again be put down by the male. And I do have to admit, that there were many, many relationships after that although more subtle, I did disempower myself to the male because I wanted, my emotional needs met, or whatever it was that I thought that I needed from this particular man or men in general. And now I'm at this place where it's almost inconceivable that I would disempower myself for anyone. And it was this awareness, I was like, this is it. This is what we're talking about. It's moving from this place of, yes, I'm willing to disempower myself to get my needs met from a man. And we're talking about in relationships, and we're also talking about globally in the world. And it's really all the same. That I mean more to me, and this is why I love this story. This is why I opened with this story, because it's really about remembering that I am, someone amazing. So I'm thinking now, so let's say we had the opportunity.
Well, I was going to say, let me interrupt right there if you don't mind. Mm-hmm. Okay, so, I'm not taking this anymore, blah, 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 I'm not, blah, blah. It's almost like what I've discovered over the decades of, burning your bras and going to that edge of that pendulum of militancy as the female. What I'm starting to learn is that the way I empower myself in the balance of the male and the female is to go to the female. Anything that's feminine, I go to. I mean, I remember them saying things like, "Oh, women are too emotional," or "They're too this or that." And you know what? I guess I am, and I'm just cool with that.
Right.
You know, I'm going to be okay. I don't have to try to be like a man.
Right.
I'm not going to be like a man. I'm not going to dress like a man. I'm not burning my bras. I'm going to go buy the most beautiful ones I can find. You know, and I'm really serious about taking my femaleness and taking it to the wall, and I'm okay with it. And I'm not going to let other females tell me that I can't, that being female in an environment isn't cool. In fact, I'm going to be more female. Whatever that is. I'm going to wear red lipstick to work. I'm going to look as beautiful as I possibly can. If I have feminine wiles, I'm going to use them.
So yes, so what we're talking about is not, you know, women going into a man's world. That hasn't worked. You know, and we're done with the bra burning and all of that. And I agree with you. I like pretty bras, you know, I'm not burning any of my bras.
Except the ugly ones.
Well, you know, they go on the bra.
The white, gray ones,
you know,
are going out the door. The ones that make me bigger, I like that too.
But what we're talking about is really embracing the female. And you know, one of the things that you have said, Trinity, which I really love, is that we as women need to support and empower each other. That it's not a competition. That, you know, it's not, you know, competition for femininity or a competition for male interests. That we really must see each other and empower each other and support each other to be.
How many times have you been in an environment when the women were your worst enemies? The ones that brought you down the hardest were the other women. That's frustrating. That is like, wow.
Have you experienced that, April?
I have, but I think a lot of it was my own inadequacies. I just didn't think of myself, so it was really me telling myself, well, I'm not as pretty as her.
So you backed off, you were intimidated instead of joining up with her.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it's that ownership.
Afraid.
Now that's a really good point there. And I promise that if we could get inside the minds of women who are disempowering other women, it's because they feel insecure. That's the only reason anyone would ever put anyone down, to feel better about themselves. And so we immediately know this person is feeling insecure. And so there comes the empowerment that we empower each other and we empower ourselves.
So when you see a thinner woman, a more beautiful woman, a more outgoing woman, the tendency is to back off and be shy or intimidated or figure out a way to, you know, we watch each other and we pick each other apart with our eyes instead to go to her.
Yes.
And think, wow, I want to join up with her, joining together rather than circling around and being furtive with each other. It's something, because men do that. If they find a guy in the workplace that likes their same team or this or that, men kind of understand teamwork. I know that this is a generalization, but I'm going to say it anyway. Men tend to know how to work together as a team often.
From a left brain perspective.
Yeah, they don't let their emotions get in the way quite as badly as a female. Probably going to get killed on that, but women aren't as oriented towards teamwork, and yet it's interesting because a woman knows how to pull kids together in a family. You know,
that is a team.
She knows how to run the camp.
Yeah. Well, I think that, and I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think if we look at female history, that we'll see that females were not encouraged to work together. Because when females and this is the point of the show. Okay, here we are. When females work together and we really do team up together, that we can do anything. We are so powerful. And so we have been, you know, in a patriarchal society. Thank you. Society. And we have been, you know, disempowered. And now, again, this is not to blame men because we're totally responsible for our power. But if one aspect of the population is in charge and they want to remain in charge, it's absolutely natural
divide and conquer.
To disempower the other part of the population. And so, yes, and we've accepted that. But, you know, this is the thing. We never have to. and we don't now.
Well, we were a part of it. I mean,
absolutely.
we didn't pull together as a team, you know.
At any point, women could have come together.
Yeah, surely could have.
If they didn't doubt their own self-worth and their own power, they could come together and they could say, you know what, this is not okay. You know, this is not okay to send our sons to war.
Yeah.
We do not approve of war. We do not condone war. War must end. We must create peace. Mm-hmm. This is the women's voice. And this is what's been missing. And we're at this time now where, you know, we have sat back and watched our sons being killed. We have watched our daughters end up in abusive relationships. We have watched poverty and famine, and we have watched the most horrific acts. And we're done. We are done watching it. And it's time that we claim our own power, our own worth, and come together collectively as the feminine.
It has to come down to the smaller level, too. You know, you're talking about activism in society.
Not really.
But it has to be pull it down to the smallest.
It's the individual.
Yes,
it's the individual.
Absolutely. In your everyday life, you know, pulling together with with another woman that you might see on your son's hockey team, or I don't know, just when we're working together in little groups, of putting down cattiness, which is a kind of a female trait. Putting down cattiness and opening ourselves to mentoring. You know, if you see somebody that may intimidate you, another woman, think of it in terms of, I wonder what she could teach me or mentor me or help me, and go in humility to her rather than in furtive defensiveness or shyness, or going with, you know, having humility around other women and appreciation. Appreciation towards other females is a beautiful thing. We can be as appreciative towards each other as the men are towards us. You know.
So what I'm hearing you say is that this competition thing that's divided us and was probably created by men. I don't know.
You think?
I don't know.
Are you sure about that?
Be. I don't know.
I can get pretty competitive. I can think of really snotty things to do and say. I'm pretty good at that.
Well, that doesn't work.
I'm just saying.
It doesn't work to create the kind of relationships that we're really talking about here. We're talking about this relationship with other females that absolutely comes from the relationship with the self. Because, you know, as you so brilliantly said, April, that you realized that it was yourself.
Right.
That when you went into a group, if you were feeling bad about yourself, then yes, you were really excluded.
Right.
And when you claim your power, when you claim your beauty, because it's all part of the same, you can't really feel empowered if you don't feel beautiful.
Right. Yeah.
That's the female thing, right? That's a very female thing. Guys don't care if they feel beautiful.
And we're not talking about that you have to look like whoever, you know, is the great person to look like. Now, I don't know. You know, it's not that you have to be the most beautiful, most, you know, attractive person. It's not about that. It's a matter of feeling beautiful. It's a matter of wherever you are, wherever you look, that you are absolutely beautiful, and look for your beauty. Look for your beauty and know your beauty. It's owning your beauty.
Owning. I think that's the best
owning
word.
Your beauty. And this goes for everybody. You are beautiful. Whoever you are beautiful.
There's something that you have. There's many things.
All of you. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is that when we as females really own our beauty, then we start really being beautiful. And it's so interesting. I'll share a little personal piece. Like I never thought of myself as beautiful. That I thought, oh, you know, I'm pretty, I'm sexy, you know. And then a couple of years ago, I caught a hold of myself in a mirror by accident. Like, I didn't know there was a mirror there, and it was one of these big magnifying mirrors, and I just saw myself, and I just went, and in that instant, I saw my beauty. Now, this is the interesting thing about it. I got it. I am beautiful. And in that moment, I owned my beauty.
It's a moment you'll never forget.
A moment I will never forget. And it wasn't just that moment. It was a moment that changed me cellularly. So I look in the mirror and I see beauty. But this is the thing. Ever since then, people call me beautiful. They call me beautiful. I don't remember that really happening before, you know. Mm-hmm. And it was the shift inside of me. Mm-hmm. And so that's the key, that every woman is beautiful. And, you know, I love walking along the street and just looking at the beauty in every woman. It's because it's there. And this is my challenge for men and women listening to the show today. Find the beauty. And not just in women, in men too. Find the beauty. You will absolutely be amazed because what you're looking for is the divine looking back out.
Do you know one of the things that I really think helps empower a female is to be very appreciative of maleness. I love it.
Yes.
I went to a party the other night. We just walked into this house party, and there was these 23-year-old boys arm wrestling, and they were so sweet. That testosterone was so adorable. I loved it. It was just so pure, and they were arm wrestling, and I just was in amazement at that male thing. It was just a beautiful thing to me. And I think one of the ways that as a female we empower ourselves is by appreciating the maleness that's innately male. Things that say testosterone.
Yes.
In a good way, a positive way. I think to appreciate the man and what he does and how a man is embracing my femaleness, because that's something I'm not. And so then it helps me realize what I am.
Yes.
It's that comparison. And I love the differences. And I know, everyone talks about, well, we're all the same and blah. I love the differences.
Yes.
I love the
Yes,
differences in a man and a woman. And I find it to be extremely attractive. And when I can do that for the male, I can do it for the female also. And I do it for myself when I can do that for the man.
That's beautiful.
So
That's beautiful.
that was a kind of an example of just a passing little thing in my life that you see in a man that you're just like, wow.
Yes. I agree. Absolutely.
So what else,
Yeah, I was in Whole Foods yesterday, and not to give Whole Foods a plug, but I was in Whole Foods. And as I was leaving, I started talking to the cashier, and I had never seen her there before. And we were just, hi, how was your day? And she said, and she had the sweetest nature. And I just told her that. I said, you have the sweetest energy. And she said, oh, thank you. And she said, I've recently gone through like a huge shift. And I said, really? Of course, she didn't expect me to ask, but I did. And she was happy that I did. And I was happy that she did. And so she said that the shift was that she had been in a relationship that she wasn't respected. And she just had enough. And she ended the relationship. And it was a hard thing to do because she really, cared about this person. But she got it. She said, I am worthwhile. And I deserve to be appreciated and loved and honored and respected. And that wasn't happening. And so I thought about myself more than I thought about the relationship, and I left. And I'm free. I'm free to be who I really am.
Don't you think it's interesting that instead of going to anger or militancy or victimization, she went to sweetness?
Yes.
Doesn't that kill you that she did that? I mean,
I
that's
love
so amazing.
Yes.
That she would go to sweetness and gentleness rather than bitterness or, I'm not taking this anymore. I'm never dating another man again as long as I live.
Right.
She took like an amazing stand, kind of a different one.
Open-hearted.
Yeah.
I think that's what normally happens. That when it doesn't work out or we've been dishonored, and I've been guilty of this, that we close our hearts and make the other person wrong or make men wrong. And this contributes to the problem. But you're right. She just, she's like, okay, I'm going to own my power. I'm going to end this relationship. It's no reflection on me, and I'm keeping my heart open.
How do you do that?
It's a choice.
You make a decision.
It's a choice. Right. It really is a choice. And it's really the only place to arrive at. It's truly the only place to arrive at. And I know, because I've experienced it. I've experienced ending a relationship and having my heart closed and how bad that feels. And then getting to this place where, of just, and it's not even forgiveness. It's really innocence. It's innocence. And then opening my heart completely.
But not every man's like that.
And that feels so good. And I think this is how the universe is self-adjusting now, because it's like when we have thoughts that don't feel good, it creates emotions that don't feel good, and we don't want to feel bad. So it makes us, get back on track and move towards feeling good.
Sometimes we get into pseudo addictions of emotions.
Yes.
Like I was talking to you the other day about if I'm really upset about something, I can get mad about it, and that way it feels like I don't really have to feel sad about stuff, and it makes me feel it's like my little secure blanket for 5 minutes. It makes me feel good to be mad and this and that and victimized, but it just doesn't really. It's not real. It's pseudo. It's not in the pocket of where I really am. Is where I'm mourning and I have sorrow about things, and I think, sometimes as women, we want to feel, I want to be strong and masculine, or not even masculine, but I want to be able to push people around, or I want to be able to move this couch, or, whereas...
I'll show you how strong and powerful I am, that energy.
And that's not my energy. I would break my nail if I had to move the couch. I hate it when that happens.
That's funny.
One example that came up to me that I completely forgot about until this moment, when I was in middle school, I was teased a lot and just constantly teased. Well, I had a couple of really, really good friends, and I really just kind of kept to myself just because I just felt like I wasn't good enough. I didn't talk to the other girls. And there was this one girl, and she just despised me. I mean, every day she was just so mean and so cruel. Well, the funny thing is we actually had a mutual friend. And when the mutual friend found out that this other girl that she was friends with also was being mean, she just completely got after her. And she's like, you have no idea who this girl is. And she was absolutely amazing. And she told her, get a chance to know her. And get back to me in a week, and I bet you'll absolutely love her. And so I was shocked when this mean, nasty girl that I just would hide from all of a sudden just started talking to me and paying attention to me and come eat lunch with me and inviting me with her friends. And I was just like, what is this? And I just felt probably just the same thing as the girl did. It was just like, unsure. I mean, she was nasty, and all of a sudden she's nice to me. And she became one of my best friends. And just looking back at that, there was this easy, nasty conflict that was easily there. But just to be friends with her was just so much easier. And so the biggest thing I learned is you really can't judge someone for how they treat you. I mean, there was just absolute beauty in her. So,
it's interesting. That is beautiful. It's interesting that when I am with women who are in probably non-traditional roles, or they're doing things that aren't necessarily female, they don't feel sometimes like, say you take a woman who's in corporate. She doesn't feel like she can acknowledge the fact that she loves to cook or vacuum, or that she's dying to have a baby or get married. Women who want to take their own power, and they may not want to get married, but they might want to have a child. They still have these female instincts. It's interesting when I acknowledge to them, oh yeah, it's fun. It's fun to get your house clean, or I love to cook, or I had a lot of fun raising a baby. Well, except when it wasn't. It's a growth thing. They have like these secret desires in themselves of being a female, but they don't dare say it. And it's like, well, why can't you be in corporate and have a baby? Why? Oh gosh, I met a girl who was a stripper the other day. Why can't we acknowledge I'd love to have a baby or be married? I mean, we get stuck in these little boxes of this is this and that is that and blah blah. It's this big, and I'm like, well, let's make the box bigger.
Because it can be anything you want. Anything you want.
And don't you think what you want is kind of where you should go?
Absolutely.
That's what kind of defines. Yeah, I think what I want, in my heart of hearts, if we could just say it out loud, would be where you ought to go. But there's these little boxes of what this is, or what is a wife, or what is a girlfriend, or what is a judge? Well, it's what a judge. Let's just take that little opinion. A judge has been a man for thousands of years. Now women are starting to be judges. And so they judge themselves by that bar of the maleness. Well, why does she have to be like all the other men?
Right.
Why does she have to be, in that parallel plane of what men are? Why couldn't she be a female judge like Deborah back in the Old Testament? She was a judge. Why not take a motherly, nurturing approach to being a judge? Why do you have to be the patriarch?
Right. Well, we're talking about really getting down to changing the way our whole society runs, because when we look at our laws, they're patriarchal. Say the word again.
Patriarchal.
Thank you. That's what I have it here. I knew it was starting to come out. I knew it wasn't going to go any further. So it's like,
say that fast 3 times.
As soon as you can't say a word once,
just never
then
gonna say
it. You can never say it again.
Just point to me when you need me to say that word.
Okay. It might not be the only word, so we'll keep track. But what I was saying was that we've been in this, say the word,
patriarchal.
Thank you, society for so long that our laws are based on it too, and so
we don't notice that.
We don't even notice it. And I love what you said about that we need to bring the feminine motherly energy into the way that we run our judicial. I have another word.
Judicial.
Thank you. Judicial. I can't talk today.
The judicial.
All these words. Usually I try to do shows with words that I can say.
Let's not do lots of syllables.
Yeah, more than 2 syllables. I'm in trouble today.
All the judges.
All the judges. Thank
you. To approach the judicial system in a motherly way would have a little bit of a different tone than the fatherly way.
Yes.
The father's the 300-pound gorilla, but the mother's the one that says, okay,
right.
We're going to talk to your father now.
Right.
She's the one that brings it down.
Right.
I almost wonder if you had a female influence that was half matriarchal and patriarchal, a judicial system. Wow, that was good, those 3 words.
That was amazing.
I'm
so impressed.
I was impressed.
If I have to say 3 words together, I'm in trouble.
If you did those, the patriarchal, the matriarchal, feel to the judicial system, it would be completely different. Because in some ways, the female is totally intolerant of certain things that the man is like, oh, brother, whatever, just let it go. And the mother's not in this lifetime. So it would be interesting to see the matriarchal influence just in that system.
Just in that system. And then you bring it into the educational systems.
The Congress,
absolutely.
Just, all that.
Because this is what we're talking about. We're not talking about, women taking over the world. We're talking about women claiming their power.
Because we don't want to switch paradigms. We're not going
that would
from
never work.
We don't want to go from patriarchal to matriarchal.
No.
It might feel that way if we actually took half of our power at times to people, including the females, but it's not. I am absolutely not looking for a matriarchal society. I just don't want to kill my own snakes all the time. I mean, but it would be fast. It's going to be. It is fascinating, and it will happen.
Absolutely,
to see how the female energy will change the tone of pretty much anything. I would think you'd have a harsher tone in saying the Congress about going to war. I just think if you had a female energy in Congress, there just wouldn't be any war.
Right.
It would be almost harsher if the female was there. She would be the mother bear.
Because you made a good point before, because there's a lot of females in places of power that are really taking on male roles, and they're not bringing the female element.
They're not true to themselves.
We're talking about, the feminine taking roles of power and bringing the feminine to the table and not pretending to be masculine.
I almost think it would be harsher in some ways. I mean, you're just not going to be able to talk a mother bear into war.
Right.
That's just one little example.
Exactly.
The female has a certain intolerance about certain things that the male is like, well, that's just the way of the world. You're like, really? Not my world.
Right.
So it would be fascinating.
Yes.
It's going to be fascinating. The other thing I like about being a female is I love to let the man be the man. I'm like, now here's a word I can't say. You can help me with this word. I love chivalry. Was that right? Chivalry.
How did I do, April? Was that better? Okay, do I redeem myself a little bit?
Chivalry.
Now say that with judicial, patriarchal. Still say it. Say them all those words
patriarchal,
together.
matriarchal, judicial, and chivalry.
Very good.
Did I do
Bravo.
it? Oh,
that was really good.
I love
There'll be
chivalry.
a quiz at the end.
I love when a man opens
Yes,
my door and
yes.
pulls me. I love when he pays for my dinner.
I have to tell you, she's playing with her earrings and just doing this flirty coy thing.
And I
Yes.
love to be sexual and beautiful
Yes.
around a man. I do
Yes.
with women too, but I love to see a man's eyes light up
Yes.
when he sees me. That's why I did it. That's why I put my earrings on. That's why I dress. I love the traditionalness of a man can take care of me. And I can be vulnerable in ways. There's vulnerability in a man too.
Yes.
For example, okay, we're going to stereotype again here because sometimes stereotypes are stereotypes because they're true. But we're
Right,
gonna,
and if you don't want to be part of the stereotype, then don't be.
yeah, right.
That's the point.
But I kind of do on this
Yes.
one in that, like, women tend to be a little better at nesting. You know, in a home or, you know, things like that. A man loves to let a woman nest for
Right.
him. You can always tell male energy in a home when you walk in because it just isn't so fabulous. Usually. Okay, stereotypes.
Yes.
And a man makes himself vulnerable to let the female come in and nest. And he takes it and loves it and eats it up. Well, there are just a lot of things that men do that I want to eat up and take. I want to be vulnerable to that. I don't tolerate abuse of it. And strings attached aren't necessarily the coolest things, but there's just a lot of beautiful things in a man that I want to have.
You know, you bring up a good point, Trinity, and that is, I think that there's a lot of men in society who don't know how to act now because
We've intimidated them.
because it's like, don't you dare open that door for me. That's disrespect. That's ridiculous. You know, I'm with you.
yeah.
I love for a man to hold the door open for me. I love for a man to take me out to dinner. I love for a man to tell me I'm beautiful. This is all part of the feminine. Of course, these might seem superficial, but it's
metaphorical.
There's archetypes. There's the feminine archetype and the masculine archetype, and I believe that a lot of relationships have gotten so out of whack because the people don't know what their roles are. The man's trying to be female, and the woman's
doesn't
trying
wanna
to be
offend
male,
her.
and no one knows how to act. And you know what? This is the thing. Men are not going to figure it out. We need to do it because the men are responding to us.
A man will do anything. He'll stand on
Yes.
his head.
Yes.
Whatever it takes. You know,
Yes.
what do you want me to do, baby? I'm there.
Exactly. So we need to decide what role we want to play. And now, yes, we are beyond roles, that we are creative, unique, divine beings. And yet we can look at roles to say, I want to be the female. I want to, to be the receiver of. I want to be the giver of. I want to, to present myself in such a way. And as we do, and as we decide who we want to be as women, and this is an individual process, then we get to tell men how to treat us. Literally, like, this is how I want to be treated as a woman. And then the men respond. And I'll tell you, in this place, there's no room for abuse. There's no room for dishonoring. That we get to create relationships that are healthy and happy. And the men enjoy that. It must start with women.
A man loves to be a knight on a white horse.
Yes.
And that's fabulous to an extent. There are just some things my man can just take care of. Thank you. And I take care of stuff too. I never let my husband put my kids to bed. He was pathetic. But there's a lot of other things he's really good at that he can just take care of for me. And I love it. I love it. And so it's not that I let him take care of everything for me, but the stuff he can take care of, he does, and I take care of other things. And I love that too.
Yes.
You know, so I think going back into tradition, some of the things that worked that we loved, let's pick them back up.
Right.
And new things. I want to be a judge, but I'm going to be a different kind of judge, or I would be a different kind of astronaut than, say, a man.
Right.
You know, you can even tell, like, when you read a book, you can almost, if you didn't know the author, you could tell if it was a man or a female.
Usually you can.
You really
absolutely.
can, and that's a beautiful thing, I think. You know, I love that.
I'd love to hear the younger perspective. We only have a few minutes left, so but I'd love to hear the younger perspective of what we're talking about as far as, these traditional roles where a woman gets to be a woman. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think the female voice is just lost. I mean, personally, just looking at me, I just see how it's just, especially me going through abuse, how it's easy to just kind of succumb and just lose that motherly or female touch. It's easy to get lost, and I think absolutely, I just feel that desire to come back. And I feel the same way. I think it's great to be taken care of, but also to have this leadership role.
Or an opinion.
Yeah. My voice matters.
Yes.
I have opinion on this too, and I want to be heard.
Yes. That's beautiful.
And I will be heard.
Yes, and I will be heard. Yeah, we had a conversation last night about worthiness, and I remember saying to you that you cannot find worthiness outside of yourself. No one can define you worthy. That it's actually something that you claim.
Right.
That you claim your worthiness, and really, overall, that's the message that I would like our listeners to get today. That it's about claiming your worthiness, and this is a pathway to claim your worthiness as female, as woman. I am worthy. I have a voice. I matter. And I have the power to change my world. And so changing my world and changing myself from the inside out by knowing who I am and knowing my worthiness, I get to change the world. And it really does start with every single individual.
And it's not this militant thing. As a female, it's not a militant thing. I want equal pay. Blah. It
can never be that way. That would be using the same energy that we're trying to overcome.
Yeah. We're never going to beat the men at their game.
And the game doesn't work. We don't want to play the game. We're not, as women, I'm going to speak for women here, that we are not looking to take over. We are not looking to overpower. No. We are not looking to manipulate. We are not looking to play the same old game. What we are looking for is to own our power, to have a voice, to have our voice heard, to have ourselves honored and respected by women and men alike, and to be free to create what works for us individually in our lives and to help precipitate and facilitate world change in such a way that women and men do come together and partner in a union as one and create the kind of world that we want to live in and raise our children in, the kind of world that we are proud to pass on from generation to generation. And you know what? This is what we're here to do. Every single one of us, if you are listening to this, you are here to make that difference, and that difference starts with you. That difference starts inside of you. That difference is you. The world isn't going to change. I guarantee it. You need to change.
I can't change the world.
No.
But I can change my own world.
That's right.
Make it how I want it.
That's last beautiful words. Thank you, darling Trinity. You're wonderful. April, thank you so much.
Love you, Nanice. Thank
love you, Trinity. Love you, April. Yeah. So I wonder what you're thinking right now. I wonder how you're feeling right now. I wonder how you're going to wake up tomorrow and choose to live your life, whether you're female or male. How much are you willing to claim yourself, to claim your power, to remember who you really are? A thought occurred to me at some point in the show, and I thought that if we could go into a home where a woman is finding herself abused, and we gave her the rabbi's gift and told her that she was in fact the Messiah and that she believed it enough, that she made a difference in her life, what would happen then? What would happen when she remembered that she was all-powerful, that she was made and is the God energy of all? Would she be able to allow herself or her body to be abused? I would think not. And so today, this is your invitation. Your invitation to remember that you truly are the Messiah, that you truly are the God that you have been praying to, that you truly are the divine. And how would the divine treat itself? How would you treat the divine? If the divine appeared to you in another form in front of you, would you dishonor the divine? Would you disrespect the divine? Would you not listen to the divine? I think not. And so today, this is your invitation to look in the mirror and see the divine, to look in the mirror and see your beauty as the divine. This is your invitation to start respecting yourself from the ground up. Every moment of every day. This is your invitation to honor who you really are and to know that you have a gift for the world and you are that gift. And it's time to honor that gift and give that gift on a golden platter. That you are here for a reason, and this reason is within you. This reason is you. And the only thing that you have to do and your only purpose is to simply be who you really are. You are divine. You are everything that you have ever imagined yourself to be in the highest light of all the goodness in the universe. And you know what? You can't do it wrong. That you truly are loved infinitely, always, forever. Remember who you really are, and everything else changes. Please visit my website at nanice.com. That's Nanice.com. Email me. Let me know, what happened to you as a result of listening to today's show. Download all my other shows. Sign up for Divine Inspirations. Download tons of articles. And while you're there, don't forget to take the pledge. It will change your life and help you change the world, because you truly are the difference. You have the power to change your life, and in so doing, change the world. Until next week, you've been listening to Chai with Nanice. I love you. Bye for now.
Thank you for having Chai with Nanice. Please go to www.nanice.com for great free stuff that will empower you to live your best possible life. Free books, articles, shows, meditation audios, and so much more at Nanice.com. That's Nanice.com. Nanice's books are also available in all major bookstores and Amazon. Check out The Infinite Power of You, Even Gandhi Got Hungry and Buddha Got Mad, Zest Point, Lip Prints, and many others by Nanice Ellis. To find out about one-on-one coaching and how Nanice can personally coach you to experience your best life possible, please email mybestlife@nanice.com.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And please join me on my website at nanice.com. That's Nanice.com. Thank you.